Good afternoon and welcome to Nora's Dog Training Company. We're here this afternoon with Maggie and Brandy, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is your girl's ability to understand and respond to their formal on harness, on leash obedience commands. The little bit of correction and lots of motivations and an occasional treat that we use to keep them motivated and focused, and the training equipment that we're using. Brandy is using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and she keeps the bulk of the leash folded neatly in her right hand. That leaves her left hand free to give any correction that's needed, and the only correction that we give is a little tug and release on the harness, and that is a relatively ineffective way of correcting a dog. So because we have to use harnesses with them because they're so tiny, we are implementing food when we want them to get back focused on us. And you see Maggie looking up at Brandy. Maggie is the better of the two dogs when it comes to obedience training, and the lesser of the two dogs when it comes to housebreaking. So I can't figure that out because she acts like she's smarter, and in some ways she is, and in some ways she isn't, but they're both very individual. So the first exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you is walking on a leash, which we like to call heeling, and the command is Maggie heel. I don't know what she thinks is on the ground there, but this is leash walking. And each time that Brandy stops her feet, I hope you can see her, Maggie has been taught to sit automatically without being told to wait for her next command. If you do have to make her sit, you give a little tug on the harness, you tell her sit, and Brandy, if you need to use food to get her to look up at you and not look at the ground, there you go. So it doesn't hurt in the beginning when you're working with her to use food to keep her, I don't know what she's smelling, but you're trying to keep her looking at you more. And when you stop, she is supposed to sit. And obviously these little girls weren't bred to do obedience, but Brandy's worked very, very hard. There you go, that was beautiful. What a nice sit. Now you see how Brandy's using that food to get her to look up, and she's going to leave her in a sit stay. She uses her left open palm and the one-word command to stay. This is your sit stay. And believe me, this is hours and hours and hours of work. Starting off in the living room, sitting on the floor, teaching them to, I know that you probably had started working on sit, stay, come, down, and then Brandy has spent countless amount of time getting them to walk nicely on a leash. And they like their harnesses now. They don't hate their harnesses. They're very good about getting them on. They know what it's all about. And we've walked them together as well as separate. Brandy called her and she came right in. That was very good, and she sat. This is your come on command. They're so adorable. Brandy has given them both little puppy cuts. This is your down on command, so it's the open flat of your palm straight down toward the ground, the one-word command to down and stay. When Brandy returns back to her, she walks all the way around her as an additional distraction, and when she stops at Maggie's shoulders, Maggie expects to get another command. And one of the things that you're going to find out about working with them, doing obedience, is that it tires them. That was cute little down. You can also substitute bang for that because she looks like she expired. And she comes right in and she sits. And they go back to heeling. And if you just put your video on and you work each one of the girls in obedience, you can work right in the house because they're so tiny. You don't have to go outside in the heat. You don't have to make it a big deal. But it's quality time that you're giving them one-on-one attention. Leave one in the crate, work them one at a time. There she goes. Work them one at a time, and then they're getting quality individual time with you. They're learning something every day. You're keeping their little minds stimulated. And this makes them not just a ball of energy all the time, two dogs just rough and tumble all the time. And actually, we've been using the little exercise pen with them separately as well, because when they get in there together, they don't use the pad as much as they play. So we've been putting one in at a time during the course of our days here at school for them to go potty. So we have demonstrated for you all of Maggie's on-leash obedience commands: her heeling, her sitting, her sit-stay, her down-stay, and her come. These are the exercises that you're going to be working on and perfecting at home after they get home. We'll have a whole packet of information for you when they get home, and we're going to go get your other little girl and demonstrate her version of the same commands.